our work is based on this vision of how we see these computer systems evolving. So if you look back at the mainframe computers, at that time, software systems, computer programs were developed and used by computer experts. We are now in the age of personal computers, where software systems are still developed by computer experts, but are used by persons that have no significant computer background, like internet browsers, emails, word processors. We think that the next stage, which is that of learning assistants, where these software systems will be developed and used by persons who are not computer experts. Where you are an expert doctor or military planner, you could actually train your own assistant, and our work is in this direction. There is also a vision on using this in education, and the main idea is that you have a subject matter expert that is teaching such an agent how to reason, how to solve problems in a way that is similar to how the expert would teach a person or an apprentice. Now, once these systems have been trained, they could be used, they could reverse the role, they could become now the instructors that will teach other students in a way that is similar to how they have been themselves taught. So now some case studies, and one is a current project where we put a lot of effort at this moment. It's called a cognitive assistant for intelligence analysts. Basically, this is a system that would help an intelligence analyst analyze complex hypotheses, such as assess whether Al-Qaeda has nuclear weapons, or assess whether Iran's attempt to acquire nuclear technologies for economic or for military purposes. And the assistant has three main capabilities that are integrated together. Generally, you have systems that are dedicated to each of these capabilities separately, but we see great value in integrating them. First of all is analytic assistance. So such an assistant is like an extension of your computational and logical capabilities, enabling you as an intelligence analyst to perform more comprehensive intelligence analysis tasks, to collaborate with other analysts and experts, share information, generate reports on your results. Another important capability of such a system is learning, the ability to rapidly acquire and maintain the subject matter expertise, in this case in intelligence analysis, which currently takes years to establish, is lost when experts separate from service and is costly to replace. And the third capability is tutoring, helping new intelligence analysts to learn the reasoning processes involved in intelligence analysis. And actually this is a picture from a class at US Army War College last spring with the students using this system. So I'll provide you a little bit more technical details to understand how this agent reasons. But it's using a divide and conquer approach. It's like breaking complex problems into simpler ones. So we have a complex problems like assess whether Al-Qaeda has nuclear weapons, and we break it into simpler ones such as do they have desire, reasons, and capability. And then break these problems into even simpler problems, and then we try to find solutions to the simplest problems by looking at pieces of evidence, what Osama bin Laden declares, what other information we have. So until we break these complex problems to simpler ones, we find the solutions of the simpler ones, and then we combine the solutions of the simpler ones with the solution of the top-level problem. So for instance, here it might be that it is likely that Al-Qaeda has nuclear weapons. This is an illustration of this breakdown process where the system was initially taught by an expert analyst, and now it is able to solve problem and explain this reasoning in a similar way. And this is like the analyst talking, thinking aloud, but now it's a system doing this because it learned from an analyst. I want to assess whether Al-Qaeda has nuclear weapons. What factor should I consider to determine whether Al-Qaeda has nuclear weapons? Characteristics associated with the possession of nuclear weapons and current evidence. So I need to solve these two problems to assess whether Al-Qaeda has the characteristics of someone having nuclear weapons and what is the characteristics. What are the characteristics? Reasons, desire, and ability to obtain nuclear weapons. So I need to assess whether they have reasons, desire, and ability, and so on. So basically, through this process, the system will break this complex problem into simpler ones. And then, for instance, a simpler problem is to determine whether self-defense is a reason for Al-Qaeda to obtain nuclear weapons. And the piece of evidence for this is an interview with Osama bin Laden, where he states, Al-Qaeda has nuclear weapons and may use them to defend itself. So it basically gives the answer to our question. The problem is, do we believe it? So the system performs a complex credibility analysis of whether we should believe what Osama bin Laden says, and we look whether he's telling the truth, whether he's objective, whether he was in the position to say what Al-Qaeda has or doesn't have. And so these are solutions of simpler problems for credibility. We assess the credibility of Osama bin Laden. We also look at the credibility of the reporters that said they took this interview with Osama bin Laden and so on. And then we get the solutions that in this case would be, well, it is almost certain that Al-Qaeda has nuclear weapons. Now this reasoning tree is generated immediately by the system, but it has over 1,700 nodes like this. But they explain very clearly the analysis logic, what evidence was used and how, and what assumptions have been made and what is not known. Something that General Colin Powell actually stated that a good analysis should show. The user can look at some of these problems, such as I want to see whether Al-Qaeda has, one is to assess whether Al-Qaeda has reasons not to use nuclear weapons, assuming that they haven't, because they haven't used them. And you as a user can provide a solution here. I think that it's unlikely. If they would have had them, would have used them. So you change the solution and immediately the system will update all this entire reasoning. So now it's only likely that Al-Qaeda has nuclear weapons. But the system will also warn you that your that it reached a different conclusion. So you may wish to check the system's reasoning.